Hey, can you hear
Hello?
me? I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Awesome. Did I just see that your channel has 1,500-ish subscribers?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. How'd you get that?
Uh, so probably 5 years ago. No, maybe not even that long. For a while, I had been using a program called Art Rage. I think you probably heard me mention it a couple times here or there.
Right.
Um, and I frequented their forums a lot because I was using that to get used to using a drawing tablet.
Okay.
And uh, you know, part of the process for me when I learn stuff, I like to bounce ideas off of people, and by going to the forums, I was reading what other people had questions on. I'd go and look it up, and play around with the program, and try to figure information out. Oh, I'm sorry, are we actually live right now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, hi everybody.
I mean,
Anyways,
yeah, we're only on for 2.5 minutes. It's barely getting started, but
that's fine. I just wanted, yeah. So I would go to their forums, check out questions, and try to figure out ways around helping them. And in doing so, I was helping myself learn.
sure.
Uh, and after a while of doing that, I was pretty well known there, and it got me. I'm going to ramble on about this. Long story short, I helped them out a lot. They put me onto their beta testing. I did a lot of their testing, just as a helper, um, in the background, and
Sure.
so one thing led to another. I was making. They have like what's called a sticker tool. I'm just going to turn on my cursor here so people can see what I'm doing. Okay. Um, and I was making a lot of stickers for them. Well, not for them, but for myself. And I was showcasing it when it was in beta for them, so that people could get an understanding of what it could do.
Sure.
Uh, and I made a video of it just to show people, like, hey, check out all these things I did. And the RH team liked it and stuck it on their front page, and that got me a huge boost of followers because
Yeah.
of that.
I know some people that are trying to get their subscriber count up, and it's not going very well, and I'm like, oh well, you did something there. Look at that. That makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was progressively getting a lot of subscribers anyway, just because, um, like I said, I was answering a lot of questions on the forums. People would be using Photoshop or GIMP or whatever other art programs there were, and saying, I found this video for this other program, but I have no idea how to do this for Art Rage. So I'm pretty good at that sort of thing. So I'd find like a workaround on how to manage it with Art Rage for them, and
Right.
so people would. So that's really it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't really. I'm not. I'm not reliably posting there. I just kind of throw things up there when something comes around.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. Hello, Grace, the cosplayer. Good to see you stopping in once again. You probably have seen my today's co-host. It's someone sane. He was always posting, and one of the or posting always, on the streams as moderator.
Yeah, hi, Grace. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to draw here, as per usual. And when I get distracted, I'll ramble on.
Well, I figured since Jessica's up camping again and not available, so I'd reach out to some of the folks who've done it and see who wants to have a little fun for a bit. Of course, after I hit you up, what was it, last night, asking you, Nate jumped in and says, "Hey, man, can we stream together tomorrow?" I was like, "Oh, I mean, I would, but I've already asked someone, so we'll have to do it another
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know he had another person on. I could have let him jump on because, like I said, I've got some storms coming in here, which have got me a little worried that it might bump me off.
time." Yeah, it's all right. It happens. It's not a big deal. Couldn't be any worse than what happens with Jessica every time her internet goes go wampus.
But that's usually because I end up coming in. I come to the
Right.
to the chat, and for some reason, everybody
Just
goes
suddenly
haywire.
it just starts kicking everyone off. Yeah, there's been a weird stretch of like weird connectivity issues with a lot of people. There's Mark.
Should have gotten some practice in before I jumped on. No warm up.
Oh, this tests your abilities, man. We're just going.
I got some bad habits where I don't warm up before these things.
I almost never warm up. I don't. It's just not a thing I do. I just usually sit down and I just go. But hey, Mark, how's it going? He's asking if you're going to do the group draw.
Group draw. Oh, is that still going? The anime thing, right?
I guess so. I don't want to say I don't pay attention, but I mean, it's not that I don't care. It's just that I'm only doing this thing until I'm done with it, So I'm like, I'm not paying attention or devoting any thought to what I would do because I can't.
Right. I suppose I could do that. I need an anime to draw. Let's see. And it's supposed to be in our style, right, Mark? Wasn't that the thing? Let's do an anime in our style.
So was it take an anime character, but then draw it in your own style, not draw an anime style? It's just draw an anime character in your own style? Is that what it was?
That was my understanding. It was supposed to be essentially take a character that's a well-known. Well, I don't know if it needed to be well-known, but a character that's already created by somebody and draw it in our style of art. So it's not necessarily do it in their style, but see, you recreate that character to look like something that you would normally draw.
I gotcha. That's fun. Yeah, Mark, say there ain't no rules. He says, I don't even have a style, so I'm going to do what I want. That's funny. Grace, you say you got a notification that said new subscriber Robert Norton? Let's see. So do you have any idea what anime character you might do?
Well, the go-to would probably be Goku or something, but I don't. I would have to see. I'd have to have Goku reference right in front of me to even draw him. To be honest, like like I know he's something like this. He's got like kind of spiky hair going on,
Right.
but since I don't draw him every day, I mean, you know, I don't even. I can't even get Spider-Man right half the time. That's a character I know pretty well. I mean, I know Goku pretty well too, but I don't. It wasn't like I was drawing him all the time.
Yeah. See, I don't know any of those characters. I know very few anime characters, but
I'm sitting here drawing off the screen. Everybody's got to yell at me in chat and let me know when I'm off the screen because
focus center.
this I'm using an iPad to film or an iPhone to film a widescreen a widescreen monitor.
Oh yeah, I got you.
So half the time I'm like off center on you.
He's excited because I got my scanner connected today. So
Yeah, I saw that you had posted on Facebook. It looks pretty good. Um, but you said you emailed it. Is that right? You emailed it
well,
to or something?
I scanned it and then I just emailed that drawing to Chuck just to see how it come through, just to try it. Yeah, we were kind of messaging back and forth. He asked me if I was like, is the scanner working? I was like, honestly, I haven't even done it yet. So it took me a second because I'm a technotard. To I had to download the software, I guess, and then I kept having to sit here. I'm like, well, how do I make this thing work? So I had to I restarted my laptop, and so the problem that I'm stuck with, and I was going to hit up somebody, but maybe you have a solution. And I'm sure it's something simple. I'm positive it's something simple. I just don't know how to solve it. Is that it didn't, as far as I can tell, drop an icon anywhere on the screen or anywhere that I could find to access it, a screen that pops up to let me make adjustments, like increase the resolution level, the DPI for the scan. The only way I could get it to work after downloading, restarting, is just I turned it on and hit the scan button. And then it scanned and just dropped the scan into a file and then opened up the paint program automatically. And so I'm like, well, okay, I've got it connected and it defaults it to 300 DPI. But I'm like, if I want to scan these at a higher resolution, I got to find this screen that I know exists to make adjustments to the what I want. I don't know where to find it or how to pull it up or seek it out.
Um, okay, so you, you said you downloaded the software, right? So you have the proper driver installed then, right?
Yeah, it's functioning. It wasn't before. I know I had to go do that, and the instructions tell you it comes with the disk to either download upload the information. With this laptop I have, it's actually my roommate's, and it doesn't have a disk drive reader on it. So I just went to the site and found what come up first, and I just all right, download, and it did it, and then it wasn't doing anything, so I restarted the whole thing and just kind of went from there. But it said in the instructions there should be an icon to then access it, but I'm like, I don't I don't see this thing anywhere.
It's not on your and it didn't go to your desktop, the icon.
No, no.
What's the name of the printer software?
Oh God, I don't.
Well, I don't expect you to remember it off your head, but when you go back to the computer, um, I'd suggest just going to the search. You know, in the bottom left corner, there's a search there,
Yeah.
and just type in the name and see what comes up. But be careful because what might happen is it might try to recommend the software again. like
Well, there,
it's
there
it,
is
like
a
if they
there's
can't
a
find
little
it.
file. There's a file on the desktop that when you open it up and there's just a bunch of files in there. You know, and I'm not technologically savvy enough to know what all of this stuff is, but none of it's and just like the icon to access it to bring up the control panel or whatever. So hard to explain. I'd have to show it to somebody. I'm sure it's simple. I'm just missing it, and I'm not sure how to solve it. But maybe I can hit you up later and send you a screenshot, and you can be like, "Oh, it's this thing right here."
Right.
Let's see. Grace says, I can't even lay on my bed. It has paper and wire on it. Now I got to watch this standing. I'm going to have to sit in wire. D-Man, I'm not going to get me a tablet. I'm not going to spend that money if I don't have to. And this thing is, I've got it. It's just my roommate's laptop. I don't know. It says Dell on it. It's just a whatever that may mean.
Dell. That's just the company that
Right.
developed it.
Mark says your Goku looks like crap.
That's fine. It's by it's by
you,
it's by
you know
memory,
I'm
and
kidding.
it's a bad memory. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know. I'm pretty gullible, but I'm not that gullible.
Oh man. I'm just kidding, Mark. I know you would never say that. Or maybe
I
you
mean,
would, but you didn't in this case.
I mean, I could, I could just go online and look up a reference. I suppose probably help, but I mean, it's supposed to be my style anyway, right? So
Right? There you go.
I can do whatever I want with it.
That's true. Oh yeah, now I'm looking at it. I'm like, if that's just you just doing this from your memory, like I don't know anything about the character, but I recognize it as, oh, I've seen that guy before, so you're doing something right.
All right, yeah, that's good enough for me.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. So like I said the other night, I hopped onto your stream, um, and like I said, sure enough, it wasn't even 5 minutes. I was asleep like almost immediately.
I kind of noticed you dropped off pretty quick. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was playing. It stayed on the entire time. I just wasn't awake for it.
Right. Yeah, you did say that, and then suddenly you were gone. I'm like, he was not kidding. Man was tired.
Yeah. See, I know this front part of his hair is wrong. Like he's got a bigger deal like this going on right here, doesn't he? I don't know if anybody's familiar with this character in chat.
You know what's funny is as I sit here and draw, and I think of all the pages I've drawn, all the panels I've drawn, and just this comic itself, or the entire comic series itself, or just everything I've drawn over the course of my life. And then suddenly I'm drawing something I've never attempted before. I'm like, how have I never tried this? Like in the case of this top panel where this guy is picking up this girl, like to pick her up off the ground to carry her away to, protect her. And like just
Right.
drawing those two figures in that kind of way, I'm like, I've never done this before. So I'm kind of struggling. Like, this is kind of tricky. You know what I mean? I'm like, how have I never drawn something like this? You'd think it would be something come up, but then suddenly you're like, no, I've
It's
never. nope, I've never drawn this, and I know I'm faking it.
It's kind of back of my mind thing. But I've drawn stuff before where it's like, okay, so this is what the page might look like, and I've run into that situation where it's like, oh, I'm so used in this pose, but now I have to do it from like this weird 1/3 off angle. That's
Yeah,
it's like I've never drawn the muscle grip that way before. Like I have no idea what it looks like from this point of view.
yeah, it's tricky. So then it challenges you, and I'm sitting here thinking like, I had my friend come over and did a little art modeling for me, and we got a couple of poses, and I'm like, I keep running into these other poses where I'm like, God, I should have had her do this one and this one and this one, so I could like just reference easily. I just had someone. I could always get her over again, but I'm just like, I had someone right here. She's like, "What do you got? What are we doing? Let's go. Let's what do you want?"
Yeah, yeah, that's like the probably the biggest issue with references is you can find references like what you need, but it's hard to find them exactly as you need.
100%. I've gone looking for references online, thinking this is simple. I'll find this anywhere, and then I don't find anything. So it's just, and then I've realized I've spent 30 minutes, 45 minutes screwing around looking on the internet for a thing. I could have just probably drawn it from memory, and at least maybe it's not as good as I wanted it, but at least it would be done.
Right, yeah, at least you'll have something down, and then and maybe you're just kind of like, all right, so this is kind of it, but this muscle group looks bad, so I'll cast the light from this side, and suddenly it's in shadow and nobody can see it, so it's fine.
Exactly. When in doubt, black it out.
Right, yeah, it's like it'll be fine. Nobody will know.
Outcast Studio says watching this while making your own comic. That's awesome. We encourage that. D Man's watching Goodfellas. That's a movie I've never seen.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
You're like, Rob.
No, absolutely not.
You're like,
Absolutely not, Rob.
get off the stream and go watch it right now.
What? How do you not see Goodfellas?
I don't know. How do you not see a lot of things? It's just it never
Yeah, I know.
seemed like
I just give you a hard time, but
I know you're
Goodfellas though,
yeah.
Goodfellas is like one of those like you got to see Goodfellas. Like that's just you got to see the Goodfellas.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. It's just never crossed my
You got
path.
Pesci, uh, Alito there. What is it? I forget his name.
Ray,
Ray, yeah, yeah, Ray.
Lolita, Lolito.
Yeah,
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 I've
it's a
heard
good
it's
movie.
great. Just I mean, like gangster movies like that were never anything that particularly fascinated me, and so it's sometimes they just have to kind of cross my path by luck and just kind of happen to go catch my interest. I'm like, oh, I get it. Like I've never seen The Godfather.
Yeah. Okay. So there's see, I haven't seen that either. I mean, I've seen parts of it, but I haven't seen
Sure,
like I haven't gone out of my way to watch the whole thing,
right.
and it's never piqued my interest enough to want to. I should say, like when I've seen it, I was kind of like, okay, so that exists, but whatever.
Yeah, and I understand that it's supposed to be great. I'm sure it is. I don't doubt it. And even if it's one of those things where even if I don't like it, I can still recognize when something's good, even if I don't like it. You
Yeah.
know,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can understand why people want to watch it. I just it's just not. It didn't do anything for me, I guess.
yeah.
Same. See, I have that thing with
Oh, really?
And I have no idea why, because I love a lot of.
Yeah. Hey, El Guapo Comics, how's it going? El Guapo Comics, man, I checked out your Instagram page. You are a fantastic artist. Holy Lord. We are in the presence of a guy who's extremely talented. You know, I mean, we're all extremely talented in the eyes of the Lord. I know, but this man is like really good. I was really shocked by what I saw. I was like, all right, well,
Well, my interest is peaked. Now I got to go and find his Instagram.
yeah. I was like, oh, you can draw, sir.
Oh, wait. I don't know. I might have already been on. Am I? I don't know. I'll look it up. I may have already been on it.
Yeah.
But I look at a ton of Instagram pages.
Right. I know. There's so many. It's like I might be following or not. I don't know. I can't keep up.
Right. I might go there and be like, oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. I've seen him. What anyway?
Yeah, I've liked dozens of your images.
Yeah, no problem, El Guapo. Yeah, yeah, I was legitimately impressed. Like, you could just tell when someone's like kind of master of what they do. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I got you. I understand what I'm looking at now. I got to go work harder.
Oh wait, so he's the kind of artist that's going to make me feel bad about myself. I don't know about
I mean, I
that.
guess it depends. I took it as I got to go work harder because I'm inspired now. But Grace, the
Yeah, I'm just
cosplayer, welcome back. It's my oldest boy's birthday on Monday, so we're basically kind of doing a little mini weekend celebration with him.
yeah. You have any plans already, or?
I mean, we've just like I've asked him like, "What do you want?" What do because he doesn't like, you know, um, he doesn't. I mean, he's turning 12, but he doesn't attach himself to like physical things. Like he doesn't want toys and shit. Like when I was a kid, I absolutely did. And his younger brother, who's 9, loves physical stuff, little knickknacks and gadgets and things. So I'm like, "What do you want, my son?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, but neither does your daddy. Your daddy's got no clue. Your daddy's not very smart. So even if you want just cash, and if you think of something in the future that you would like, like we could do that." And I got him a chocolate birthday cake that he loves, that he's eaten almost the entire thing himself, which is kind of a little bit much, but it's kind of fine. And we're gonna watch a specific movie together. He loves Pacific Rim. He loves giant robot punch giant monster. So we're gonna watch that together.
Yeah, I like Pacific Rim.
What's that?
Yeah, I like Pacific Rim. That's a good movie.
Yeah, I absolutely adored it when it first came out. And multiple rewatchings have shown me that I love the parts with giant robot punch giant lizard, and everything else is kind of a waste of my time anymore. It's like it's not that interesting. Like first watching, great. Second watching, kind of great. Third watching, and okay. By four, five, six times, I'm like, I just fast forward to the giant robot punch giant monster. That's kind
Yeah,
of
I
all I
mean,
want to see.
there's not a whole lot to it. I mean, it is like the story is pretty straightforward. It's you have a big robot and there's big monsters coming. Find a way for big robot to smash big monsters.
Right? Yeah.
Um, but still, it's entertaining. But yeah, like you said, you're not going to pick up any extra details on a rewatch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no deeper meaning, but giant robots punch giant lizard. My ex-wife used to refer to the movie as she couldn't remember the name of it. She's like, "What's that movie? Monsters in the Water." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's the greatest name for that ever." So that's
That
like, just monsters in the water.
is not it, but it should be.
Right? Wouldn't that be great? Just real quick, El Guapo Comics, he says, "No, brother, I love people who grind, especially artists. What we do is not for the faint of heart. It takes dedication and consistency. You got to show up every day, and you do." Well, thank you. He's not wrong. Like, we've talked, like, making a comic is not easy. I think some people who don't know, like, oh, you just sit down, you just draw superheroes punching each other. That's simple, right? No, no, no. It's if you want to do it right, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, like people don't understand the art of the page turn,
Right.
especially now with everybody going onto web comics and stuff. There is no page turn anymore. Like you don't get that exciting, and then you turn the page and this happened. Like it's all. Then you scroll down, but you already saw what happened because you could see half of it while you were reading the first part.
Yeah. 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 I That's one of those reasons, I just love the physical media like I hate reading comics digitally. I do. I don't I am completely disconnected from it. I want a physical book to hold, and just call me old school, but it's hard for me to. I've had some people, well, one, like maybe like two people hit me up and asked me if I'd review their book. And I said, they're like, "I'll just send you a digital file." I'm like, one, my setup is so crappy. I don't really have a way to show it, but looking at comics digitally is so not fun for me. But I'll do it, but I don't have any way to like show the digital comic outside of pointing my phone at the computer, which I'd have to reset my whole thing over to the other desk, and I don't know. It's just I'm so disconnected from it in terms of not the creation of the comic, but the reading of the comic when it's
Yeah,
digital.
I get that. I mean, I think there's space for both. Um, because I mean I've done my fair share of online reading, especially when it comes to manga. Because there was only so much available at the time I started reading that stuff. The only place you were going to find it is online.
Right.
Um, but it's a different beast when because those mangas that they were just somebody was just uploading the pages, right? Like they scanned them and uploaded them for people to read because they weren't available here. That's kind of changed now. Now you can find places to legitimately go and read this stuff, which is great.
Sure.
Um, and and I think a lot of places are still doing it that scan and show method, which is again great because you're still getting that page turn effect there. Uh, it's the ones that are made for the web, and they're
Yeah.
um, like I said, it's all about that scrolling thing. I don't mind that, and there's entertaining ones that do that. Uh, it's just a different medium than I'm used to in that regard.
There's Nate. He showed up. How's it going, man? I know you were saying you were going to join. You saw the announcement, and I was like, "Well, where's Nate at?" Drawing with this damn Hunt 102. Wet ink. I got to keep jumping across the page, and I understand this is one of those downsides to doing this physical media because you could set your hand right in a blotch of wet ink and then be really ticked off at yourself. But oh well.
There you go. I got my Goku and as close as I could get from memory to the original Goku, and my Goku
Oh
and sort of my style.
no, that looks awesome. Yeah, those look good. Nate, we're 4 hours too early. So it's super early for you, right? If it's late for us, it's early for you in Australia, right? El Guapo Comics, he says, I do a blend of both. I do my layouts digitally and then I'll print them out and tighten up the pencils and go straight to ink depending on how I'm feeling. Well, that's awesome. I know a lot of artists that do that. I get especially the doing the layouts digitally and then printing them out kind of save you some effort, I would think. But then you end up with still physical media. He also says he likes that Goku redesign.
Oh, thanks.
Grace, the cosplayer, says, I'm trying to draw a siren. Well, you should share it. I don't know if you've got a Instagram page that we can see if you post your artwork, if you do, but would like to see your work sometime. Oh, Nate's saying it's 11:30 a.m. All right, so it's not crazy early. Yeah, normally I do it later, but I was trying to find someone to join me, and someone's saying here you're 2 hours later than me, right? We discovered.
Yeah. Right now it's 9:35.
Yeah. So wasn't gonna do some like me and Jessica were doing where we started at like 10 o'clock sometimes on Saturdays, and so it would be like midnight for you. Like no, no, no,
Yeah, that would have been rough.
no. I know. I mean, I kind of got all the time. I mean, I'm mostly open anyway, so it's all fine for me. My kids are just in the living room eating Little Caesars pizza and watching some nonsense on TV, and I could be in there sitting there trying to keep my sanity while they play that nonsense on the TV because I just can't stand it.
How can you not like nonsense?
Oh, I mean, this stuff these kids like is just. I wonder. I've said this before, but I wonder if the stuff that I used to watch as a kid, my parents couldn't stand either. Like, oh my god, they're watching this Thundercats cartoon again. I hate it. They never expressed that. So
Well, yeah, they're unlikely to ever say that. Probably they're gonna be like, "Why are you watching that crap?" Oh, so I guess now that I think about it, yeah, I bet there are parents like that.
I'm
Like,
yeah,
go,
sure there
go,
are.
watch something beneficial to your education, I guess.
Right.
I mean,
Watch
hey,
some.
it's not my fault they took things off the air that was, somewhat knowledgeable. I
Right.
mean, the best we had later on is like MythBusters, I think.
Yeah.
you know,
There.
I mean, I used to love watching the Discovery Channel because they had all those things like how or how it works, or how it's made, and um, movie magic, all that stuff. Where you're actually learning like cool things.
I remember when I came across on YouTube, there's that channel or bits and pieces of like how it's made. And it's like they're talking about things you think you wouldn't care about. Like, this is how they make noodles in mass. I'm like, why would I care? But then you watch how all this material is mixed together and folded out and chopped up and packaged. And I'm just like riveted by like, this is so interesting.
Right? It's like, oh, okay. I never knew I needed to to see this, but now that I have seen it, that's
Yeah. One of the more interesting ones I thought was how they were explaining how they make those the Olympic sport curling, which is like
yeah,
the dumbest sport I've ever seen.
Right.
But they showed how they make those curling stones, where they get the stone from in a specific quarry in a specific place, and how they cut it and grind it and polish it. And I'm like, this is so neat. And then it becomes this rock they slide across the glass, and people are like scrubbing in front of it. And I'm like, well, all right. The making of it was more interesting to me than the actual like sport.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a weird thing, right? Like, chuck these huge heavy rocks down ice while sliding. You got to knock other stuff out of the way, get closer.
I remember the first time I saw it, which was not too long ago, because I'd watch the Olympics when they'd be on TV when I was younger, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Where's the ice skating? Where's the ski jumping? Where's the I every the bobsledding? But this thing where they just like launch the little stone down the people like scrubbing in front. I'm like, this has got it. But I mean, I'm not trying to like make fun of it. I get, but I couldn't do it. Like I know that, but good
Right?
lord,
Yeah, it's like there's no way I would win that thing, but
yeah. El Guapo comic says I could draw all night, but can't make it 25 minutes before I start to nod off. Yeah, I feel you there.
I've watched it when it was like on the
Yeah.
Olympics and stuff.
Grace, you say you can post on community posts on YouTube if you remember. Well, yeah, yeah. I actually just followed your page. I saw that you commented on my YouTube page, so I saw that you were there. So I went and followed your YouTube page. So now I can see if you post, if you choose to do anything. You know what movie's coming out? I'm surprisingly excited for, and I probably shouldn't get my hopes up, but I'm going to. Is the sequel to Twister?
Yeah, I seen some commercials for that. Um, well, I should say I've heard some commercials for it because I've not looked up while they've been on,
Yeah.
and like it seems like it's always ending when I go, oh, you know what? I meant to kind of pay attention to that. I mean, I imagine it must look good if you're saying you kind of want to see it.
Well, I remember that first time that first one come out. Well, real quick, El Guapo, you're going to take off. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Yeah, thank you, sir. But yeah, back in what 95, 96, 97, whenever that first one come out, that was one of like those movies that and Independence Day. I kind of feel like were movies that made me just go, "Holy crap!" Special effects are just becoming a whole new thing. Now special effects are like you just expect it, but there was something about the use of the tornado stuff and the like nonstop kinetic energy of that movie. They're just constantly going, chasing tornadoes and running away from tornadoes. I just loved it. And it's supposed to be a direct sequel. So I'm kind of like, I did kind of looks good. And my boys love the original. I would watch it with them. So I'm like, hey, you guys want to go see the sequel to Twister? They're like, yay! So I have a movie date with my boys planned.
That's good then. I'm sure it'll be entertaining if nothing else. I mean, it might not be like it might not blow the first one out of the water.
And the first one was pretty cliche story, but that's kind of okay if you kind of like the characters and you kind of understand what's going on, and it's fun and exciting, and it's just a popcorn flick, it's just fun, and I'm kind of fine with that.
Right? Yeah, just to be what it is.
Yep, yep. Grace says you're going to see Twister. You're excited. Probably disappointed by the end. Oh, you never know. The thing that's disappointing is that you can't have Bill Paxton back in it. Yeah. I remember reading an article where somebody said, "You've probably seen this actor, but you might not be able to name him." And this was some years ago, but they're like, "He's been in tons of movies. I'm guaranteeing you've seen, playing the hell out of whatever character he is." And I was like, that was a great way to put it. Like, it just felt like that guy was putting everything into his character. Um, I don't know why. It seemed to make sense to verbalize it that way. Um, and he's what, the one guy that's been killed by a Terminator, a Predator, and an alien.
that's that's how he goes out, huh?
I was like, oh,
You're well known. You're well known for dying by things.
by dying by some of the coolest, um, you know, cinematic monsters or characters ever. Yeah, Nate says Paxton is the man. Hell yeah. I always thought so. That was a bummer when he died.
Oh yes, and Nate's in chat. Yeah, you. I read that book of yours. That's pretty good, dude. I thought it was nice. I know you said somebody was saying it was hard to follow or something. I didn't think it was that hard to follow at all.
Oh. I just had a conversation with him about that.
Oh, did you? Was it you? Did you do it?
No, I hadn't said anything. I think somebody else did.
Oh, okay. But hey, like different minds, they see things differently. What are you gonna do? I mean, look at the state of things nowadays. Nobody can get along about anything.
That is true.
I do have a unique thought pattern, I guess. Like I don't know. I to me, I'll explain something, and I'm like, this has to make sense. And then people just look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, all right, maybe not so much.
Let's see.
Yeah, no problem, Nate. I'm looking forward to the next chapter, but now you're saying there's not going to be a next chapter, or, or it's going to be a while, I guess, because you're burnt out. So don't get burnt out. That's important.
It is true. Speaking of being burnt out, I've been feeling that. It's just been a crazy week, and I'm just like, I can just feel like I'm having fun creating the book that I'm doing, but I'm just like, I can't wait till I'm done. I'm just so not not like mad at it and want to put it aside, like I'm not having a fun. Just God, I can't wait till I'm done with this and I can relax for a minute and not have to be like, I have to draw. If I'm going to get this done, I have to go and sit down and get to work. So,
Right.
and don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm not explaining it to you, but like I know I'm going to get it done. It's just, am I going to get it done on the time frame I've set for myself? And we'll see.
All right, chat. I did some gesture drawings here. Just out of my mind here. Now, should I create an OC from those, or should I draw this OC that I have onto those? What do you
That
think?
your character?
Yeah, this is a character. I started to make a group for that. OK Comics had posted a thing in your Discord about
Oh yeah,
a 1 month
the
comic thing. Um, and I came up with this character as one of the group. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to follow through on that though, because I'm slow with this sort of stuff. Like I'm gonna concept the crap out of stuff, and then by the time I have the group, it'll be like that'll be the month. So, uh, but I do have characters in mind. You like this bottom one, Nate?
And those are great gesture drawings, man. I kind of like
Yeah, thank
the
you.
there. I kind of like the middle lower one. I mean, they're all good. Top
Yeah.
right looks good, but I kind of like that lower middle one just at a glance.
All right. Seems like that's the consensus here. So we'll start with that one. Okay. Now, the trick is to get this manly-ish gesture drawing to be blind fire. Hi, Patrick.
Grace, you don't like the sketch you were doing, so you're starting over. Well, that's we've all done that. That's part of the joy of drawing, right? You draw something and you're like, "This sucks. I got to start over." We've all been there.
So I'll fill you in while I'm drawing on the character. My,
Tell
I'm,
us.
draw, I'm drawing on the wrong layer. There we go. So the character, as the name suggests, she's blind. So you can kind of think of her like a daredevil type of a character.
Sure.
Uh, Only she doesn't use sound to locate items. She actually emits an energy field around her, and anything within that field, she can sense. And
Cool.
that basically gives her a complete 360-degree understanding of her surroundings up to a certain distance, of course. Um, and that makes it beneficial for her to, you know, shoot things easily because she doesn't have to look at anything. Uh, but she also carries smoke grenades, which, of course, is beneficial for her because if she doesn't need to see, smoking out the area will only help her because if everybody else can't see, they'll be at a disadvantage.
Right. And so now this is for that ash can thing, right?
Yeah, I was trying to come up with characters for that, and I was just like, I'm gonna do this character, and as I was drawing her, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put this mask ridiculously high up, in one picture. So, in actuality, like if you look at this, I ended up covering her eyes here, um, but originally, let me get it in shot. Originally, it was a crazy kind of hood thing that came up from her neck all the way up and covered her face completely. So it was like her entire head was in a stocking type of thing,
Nice.
So
It's
it
a very
came all,
90s design.
yeah, it completely just covered her head. Because I was like, maybe I'll do like a goofy thing. Like this is something that's goofy, right? Like, who's gonna have like a a collar that like goes up over her entire face. Um, but then I was playing with ideas and ended up being this one down here instead.
I got a sketch out real quick for you. Um, Way back when I was younger and I was creating my first original character, I come up with the stupidest mask because it doesn't make any sense. So let me do like a kind of like you did. I'll do like a head shape. Um, but okay, so we had like a like a, what's it called? Like a bandana thing across the top of his head with a stupid little symbol on it. It had little Ninja Turtle trails off it, but it was also a full head covering. But then it had his eyes uncovered, his
Right.
nose and his mouth, and then the mask come down on his side like this, and then it had like some lightning bolt designs here. My point is that it covered everything on his head except his face. Like it
Okay.
didn't conceal his identity in any
Right.
level. And I'm like,
Right. Yeah. So it's like if anybody saw them,
like,
he'd be like,
oh
yeah.
hey Steve, I know you. I've seen you at work. What's up? He's like, no, my name's Tiger. I'm an Avenger of Night. You know,
Yeah.
like, how did you recognize me? And they're like, your entire face, bro. So,
Well,
and my this
you
character
got that.
design, I took character design elements from Darkhawk, Archangel, Punisher, and Wolverine, and put them all together into a god awful design. And I love it because it's so terrible.
Yeah. I mean, when you're younger, we all do that kind of crap. I remember I had a comic going, and I had a guy. It was stupid, right? Like because we were all into Terminator and all that crap, right? So
Yep.
I had to have a mechanized man, and that was literally his name. Mechanized man was his
Nice.
right, and mechanized man didn't really have much of a background story because I didn't care. Like, like his story was he didn't like the town and he's coming in to destroy everything. And he said as much. Like it's like the first page. He's like, the first thing you see is him like blasting. He just shoots the corner of a building. Um, and he in a close up picture of him, and he's like, they'll pay for what they did done to me, and he says something corny, and but that's it. Like his first rampage on the city was, I'm gonna blow the corner of that building up. Boom, take that. And he ran away.
He showed him.
He's like, it's like, good job, mechanized man. You really, man. Whatever will that town do now that they're missing the corner of that building? And it wasn't even like a huge explosion. Like it was literally like he chipped the side of the building. Um, and he's like, and his plan was, he's going to do that, and then he's going to wait until night to to enact the rest of his vengeance when they wouldn't expect it. It's like,
Nice.
how are they not going to expect it, dude? You literally just shot part of a building apart. They know you're coming now. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, but I'm a stupid kid who,
Oh yeah.
what do I know? I don't know anything about writing and stuff at that time.
Sometimes these terrible ideas as kids are actually genius in disguise. Like my younger brother, John, who's, he's been on my channel, he's got his own, all that. He did this when he was way younger. He had this character, and it's actually the same character he draws and has in his books today. He's kept the same guy. But he's just like a human guy that carries guns and takes out all kinds of various supernatural elements. And in this comic he created when he was probably 11 or some shit. I don't know. Very young. He just had his character like fighting this coven of vampires and just slaughtering them in the most blatantly graphic ways, where the guy was clearly taking joy in killing them in the most graphic ways he could come up with, like
Right.
like joking about it and laughing about it. But then my brother, because he was so young, he was trying to add like dramatic pathos and stuff like that. So he had his character, once the righteous slaughter was over, he stopped and like stood there all solemnly and said to himself, "I never wanted it to come to this." But I'm like, but I pointed out like he was having the time of his life.
Yeah.
My brother's like, "Oh yeah, I guess that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense." And at the time, we thought it was stupid, like it was a goof. But now I look back on it, I'm like, it's absolutely brilliant to have the character just throw that in there. Like, I didn't want to go this far, but they just loved every second of
Right. It's like, I completely didn't mean to go that far, but
But the instant another vampire shows up, I'm making another quip, and I'm gonna like shoot behind my back with my eyes shut and kill you just to see if I can do it.
Yeah. It's totally going to happen again.
Yeah, yeah. So now I'm like, now we got to do a comic book exactly with that concept. We just got to like refine it to make for to go for the obvious humor of it.
Yeah.
Grace, the cosplayer, so you're going to try digital art for the first time? Well, go for it. If you
What
got the
program are you going to use,
tools,
Grace?
yeah, there you go. Yeah, what program? What do you know what you're going to use? I bet someone sane could give advice.
Well, I don't really know. Like the two I'm most familiar with, well, three of them I'm most familiar with are super old school Photoshop, like back before they went cloud and everything. I was using that in college. Uh, Art Rage, and then Critta right now.
Right. Seems like most people's go-to is what, Clip Studio.
Hi, Kevin. Yeah, Clip Studio seems to be just like all over the place now. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, I can see why. From what I've seen, there's some pretty good elements to it. Different features. But, from also what I've heard is it's a you have to pay for it now. Um,
Oh.
but somebody also said, I think it was Nate actually said that it's only if you uh, what did he say? I don't know. Nate, are you still here? Maybe you
He's
can.
right here. Yeah, he's in the
Yeah, he's
chat.
here.
He's talking about how he wants to go back to traditional, and it's fun when you throw a real brush down after I would trying something by hand. Even Chuck's kind of getting back into it. He's kind of expressed a little bit of a resurgence for himself and enjoying doing the old school by hand stuff.
Yeah, I've got nothing against doing things by hand. Um, Apart from space and money, it's like
Oh yeah,
if I'm not getting paid to do it, there's no reason I should be paying to do it. In my opinion, so it's just like if I could get away with paying only a certain amount to do it digitally, and then just get away with doing it that way, and just keep in practice that way, I'm fine doing that.
sure.
And just so everybody knows in chat, I guns, and I don't know them. Okay, I don't know guns. So I'm winging this like you wouldn't believe. So
We call that Rob Liefelding it.
yes, I'm definitely live felding this thing to death.
To death.
It's got to be a character, right? Call it. Let's see. So we gotta make up a word that stands for winging it and death at the same time. Deathwing? No, is that a thing? Deathwing's probably a thing already, right? Like that's got to be a character somewhere.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Say that again.
Deathwing, is Deathwing a character?
God, that's hard to say, but trademark, copyright, Keaton,
Yeah,
it's all yours.
yeah. It's mine. That's going in the comic too. That'll be one of my characters. Deathwing.
Let's see. Nate says Clip Studio is best. One-time payment on PC. D-Man says it's good to know all mediums. Does traditional, can do digital as well. Kevin B. Hall says He actually got a few of them Pentel brush pens and white jelly rolls today, and some microns, but don't tell Chuck. Chuck expressed a severe dislike of microns. So you have to let me know how they do, Kevin. How well you like drawing with those? Kevin says, "Wherever two or more are gathered in Liefeld's name, verily there too he is in the midst for real." Oh, these guys. Nate says, "World of Warcraft is Deathwing."
Oh, really? Okay.
Just
Darn.
call him Wing Death. Just switch it around.
Wing death.
Yeah, I've kind of had success with microns. I kind of, but I can't also say that I've done so many other things with other tools that I can really compare them to much. So don't anyone take my opinion for gospel, which no one would anyway.
Can you hear me slapping my keyboard?
I
I'm
can.
looking. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's not like it's distracting or anything. It doesn't bother me. It's not as loud as when Nate does it. I don't know what they do down there in Australia, but their keyboard slaps are a lot louder.
He's got those analog keys, probably.
Kevin says, "Damn man, these pages are taking shape. She's looking good, even crispy. Reminds me inappropriately of a fried chicken recipe I saw on Twitter with a delicious crunch at the end. She does look crispy, and I'd still eat her up." Nate says he feels attacked. As you should, Nate. As you should. Know your role. That was rude of me to say that. Leo, Leo. Turn off the cold air. Dow says Pentel brush pens for me have a tough learning curve. So many pages, ink wasted. Yeah, there. I think like any tool, though. Honestly, it's probably. I mean, most tools have a learning curve, but maybe some are harder than others. I don't know. They all like hearing those keyboard slaps. Beat the devil out of your drawing. Yeah,
Take that, drawing.
get it. Probably some people in the chat going, "Oh yes, make it harder. Make me feel it."
You gotta want that keyboard goodness. Trying to figure out my angles here. That's one thing I have a problem with is staying on angle, getting those forms right.
Yeah.
I don't box things out like I should probably. It's all Marvel's fault. Learn to draw Marvel way.
And what's that? Drawing boxy shapes and cubes and stuff?
Well, I took Buscema's method, right? So I mean, if you look at my gestures, those are like definitely reminiscent of the way he boxed things out.
Sure.
But he also, like, when he was doing really messy stuff, like this leg here would have been like he would literally just kind of do this kind of crap where he would be like circular, and if this was a foreshortened leg, it would be like this, so that you would see that this is the thigh coming out, and then you might have the calf coming into the back, and he was kind of like finding hills and valleys, like what I always like to call that. And Nate, you'll probably remember me talking to you about that if you're still there. I was telling him how I kind of try to imagine foreshortening limbs like mountains receding into the distance.
Oh
Somehow
yeah,
that helps me.
really well drawn. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just helps me envision the forms when I think of it like that for some reason.
Well, the first thing I ever learned from was that how to draw comics the Marvel way. So from you know, and that basic structure of like stick figure kind of shapes, then turning them into cylindrical shapes. I still to this day basically work in that same method.
Yeah, that's kind of just kept going with it.
Yeah.
But I remember because I took fine art in college, um, and I remember my professor. She didn't really harp on me for it, um, but she brought it up. It's kind of like, I can see that you use like a comic book methodology, because when I sketched things, I wasn't big on using the side of my pencil a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, my gesture drawings were a lot different than the more classical kind of thing where
Sure.
you'd get that side lead, where it got really thick.
Yeah. I would think it shouldn't matter the technique as long as the end result gets you what you're looking for.
Yeah, no, like I said, she didn't harp on me for it. It was just a comment. Like she brought it up saying that she recognized where I kind of began.
That's that's good. Yeah, I didn't go to college or anything like that, but my high school art teacher, she did not think that this comic book art stuff was worth anything, and she did not encourage it, and really pissed me off.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's that kind of stuff bugged me. I was lucky. My high school teacher, she was all about whatever, you know. And actually did my thesis was a comic. It was like a 3-page comic. So
Nice.
that was, for high school, that was kind of cool to be able to do that. But that same professor in college, like I was telling you about, I remember bringing up Alex Ross to her,
Right.
and she obviously had no idea who he was, because she immediately was just like, "Oh, he's a hack. Don't do anything that guy does." And I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
So that's not the person you're talking about. I'm like, "Listen, I'll bring in the Kingdom Come book. You'll see what I'm
Right.
talking about."
Right.
And then I showed her that, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, this is much different than what I was expecting to
Yeah.
see."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, "Yeah, no, this guy's like legit. Like,
Yeah. You,
can't crap on this guy."
you may not care for the subject matter, but the skill level is undeniable.
Right? Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like you can not care for comics all you want, but you can't say that this guy's art isn't freaking fantastic.
Right. Exactly.
We won't stand for it.
I never said it was stiff, Nate. You're stiff. No, I'm a big fan of Kingdom Come. I found Alex Ross's work less magical the more time goes on, but I still like the stuff that I liked when I was younger. Like still think Kingdom Come is great. I don't seek out Alex Ross's work um, anymore. I still know it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. It's very, um, I'm looking for stoic, maybe. It's, I don't want to say stale. It's not stale, but it's not, um, like when he paints, he's painting a picture, you know? I mean, it looks like kind of almost Renaissance-ish, where it's like, this is the scene of this big battle, but the action in it, there's not a whole lot of energy. It's,
Yeah.
it's very, yeah. I just don't know the word for it. I don't know what the word is. Like you look at it and it's good. It's definitely good. Uh, but at the same time, you're kind of like, but I want to feel that smash, right? Like,
Well, there's a certain amount of like, if you're going to photo reference everything as much as you humanly possibly can, you're going to end up with boring looking stuff as compared to some of the other stuff in the comics industry, because the whole point of comics in some ways is to push these figures into superhero, like you can't paint a human in a Todd McFarlane Spider-Man pose because it never works the same. But man, does that McFarlane Spider-Man pose look awesome. So
right.
it loses something. It gains something by doing what Alex Ross does, but it can lose something. But there's room for it all, so it's all fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Kevin's saying, there's none of the inaccuracies that sort of push some of the greatest, most impactful scenes above and beyond reality into hyper reality, like a hand drawn slightly too big, or unrealistic foreshortening and impossibly fish-eyed lens. Like, yeah, um, yeah, I agree. And Mark says He finds his sketches more interesting than his paintings. I've had that same thought. Some of Alex Ross's pencil sketches, I found it a little bit more interesting than the actual finished painting.
Right. Well, I'm having that exact same issue here, to be honest. Like this this picture is this is working towards what I had drawn for the sketch, but the sketch looks more dynamic to me.
And that is the thing I've struggled with. And I've heard a lot of artists talk about this. Sometimes that rough sketch that you're just fiddling around with and don't care about, it may not be a good finished drawing, but by the time you do that nice finished drawing, the sketch is more energetic and dynamic. And so you're like, what the hell did I miss? How did I screw that up? It's so frustrating. So that's one of the reasons why I tend to pencil so rough, is so I try to leave some of that kind of kinetic energy in the sketch, and then hopefully it translates over when I ink it, and sometimes it does.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's just kind of, oops. Um, there's just something lost in the energy of it because now I'm trying to form everything out so it looks right, and yeah, that's where things can go wrong. I try to make up for that though later too when I'm putting in the final inks through line variations and everything.
Yeah. Um, Nate says that Fantastic Four, Ross's Fantastic Four. I think he's talking about that recent Fantastic Four Alex Ross did, which I really, really want to find. I only ever saw like the cartoonist kayfabe guys kind of go over it, but it looked incredible. So I'm kind of curious to catch that. And then Kevin points out Alex Ross is a master, but can he work in a vacuum without models? I would bet that he could probably still pencil really, really well.
Yeah, I a guy who can paint that well, who's constantly using references to get the details right. People like to crap on people who use referencing sometimes in this field, but um, I'll tell you what, like if you don't use a reference, you don't know what you're drawing. That's all there is to it. You know, you can't draw something without first knowing what it looks like, and you're
Yes.
not going to know what it looks like if you don't reference.
Yeah.
Um, and that guy, like with the amount of references he's used, assuming he's not tracing them, and I know he doesn't. Like, um, he knows that like he's got that stuff
Yeah.
burned in his
I'm,
memory. He might
yeah.
not do it often, but if he had to, like, yeah, he could pull that
I
crap out.
agree. I,
I
I
know
agree. I bet he could sit down and hammer out something that looks really, really good that the average viewer may not be able to tell a difference that he didn't use reference. But
it. Yeah,
yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, if for some of the you guys who may have know or saw, I mean, I put up a post just where I had that friend of mine come over and had her pose for that one shot that I had on just this other page, sitting right here somewhere. Um, yeah, I had a friend of mine pose for that, and I put up the comparison of the two, of the drawing and then the reference, and it wasn't an exact duplicate, but that was the point. It wasn't supposed to be used for an exact duplicate, but it was to help give the anatomy and where how the figure lays, um, some believability, and it made a huge difference for me. So it's definitely worth it.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't just go for real life stuff. I just drew this right. This is a picture of Goku I drew
Right.
from memory. Um, and It's not exact because I don't draw him every day. But
Pretty damn good,
if
though.
you asked me to draw Goku, and I had never seen Goku before, I wouldn't be able to draw him. Like, you would have gotten
Yep.
this original thing here, where I'm like, this is you want messy hair in a character, like it would have come out like this from the get go with me because you telling me it's a guy who has kind of like a pointy jaw with messed up hair, right? Like you're gonna get it in my style, with what consider what you're describing. It's just not going to be right though because I don't know the style without having first learned it.
Very true.
Yeah, right. Yeah, by this point, you should have the entire anatomy completely memorized, back and forth, like
Some
for every
expert on
for
Reddit.
every creature on the planet, and for every model car. You should definitely know that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Squishy Cannon the Turtle. How's it going? I don't know which one of us you're talking to. Nice artwork, dude. Are you a comic book artist? Well, I think we both are. Now, if you mean, are we like professional comic artists? I mean, we're just drawing and making our own stuff because we love to do this kind of stuff. So take from that what you will. Let's see. Kevin says those back muscles, even the friggin' knee, it's like a sack of doorknobs. What the fuck is all this? What? Kevin goes on these rants. Sometimes I get lost. I still love everything he says, though.
You, you want to see a crazy back? You got to watch. What the hell is it? Baki. I think it's called Baki. It's an anime
Yeah.
about this kid who fights, and his dad's a fighter too. And his dad's like this, like a just a beast of a fighter. Apparently, nobody can beat him. But he has like this thing where his back looks like a freaking demon. Like he tears his shirt out. Like his shirt just rips off him because he's so strong. Then he always flexes his back, and it looks like it's a face on his back. It's a crazy freaking show. I did this mask runner. It's more angular.
So yeah, that ash can thing you guys are talking about, it's supposed to be like a '90s, like come up with like a little mini '90s type era character, little mini comic book, right?
That's my understanding of it, was to try to come up with a generic '90s team, something that fits the '90s aesthetic. Um, you're supposed to have the stereotypical chick with knives and
Yeah.
or energy blades or something, and some dude that has he's essentially just a really strong guy.
Yep.
Um,
I just
I
used the characters, the first characters I ever created. They're all kind of cheesy, silly, ridiculous things. Like my main guy, his name was Tiger, spelled with a Y, Tyger. I thought he was so clever. And then there was a flying guy with energy powers and a cape. His name was White Shadow for some reason. And then there was like this half cybernetic guy named Warclaw. I'm like, oh yeah, these are the most badass characters ever, and like I still love them, and I still want to do a book on them, but it would just be like silly '90s nonsense. And so I kind of wish I could have done this thing with you guys. I just like, for obvious, I don't have the time, but it sounds fun.
right.
Squishy Cannon the Turtle says, "Draw a turtle." Like, well, I'm drawing a comic book, man, and I got to get done, so I'm not deviating from that. So I'm doing my thing. So I am on a time frame. Patrick says, I think of '90s things. I think of muscle builders, people wearing bright colors, and a lot of other things you can't remember. Chad says, Pixar stole your White Shadow name. Where was that at? Because I've had that name since I was in like sixth grade. I don't know where I got it from. I think I just made it up. But yeah, where in Pixar was that? taking a week off of work. Not next week, but the week after. I need a damn vacation. I'm going to be spending it doing as much drawing as I can.
So it's not actually time off at all.
Well, just not having to be at my job because I've been there so long. I get 4 weeks of vacation, so I got to start burning it up before the end of the year. So
Right.
I'm doing this one, and it's because also it's the week I take to spend it with my kids during the summer vacation because I think they go back to school in just a couple weeks. So, and their mom's going out of town, so they'll be here with me. So I'm going to be doing stuff with them, but then also spending as much time as I can drawing because I'm getting a little behind. I know I've said that, but that's all right. Yeah, Kevin, about to take time off from drawing? No, I need time off from my job. Chad's asking, someone's saying, what program are you using? Oh, you're drawing a turtle. Look at you go.
I am drawing a turtle. I am using Krita. It is a open source program. It's free to done that because it is a great program for being free. Actually, it's a great program for anything. Like if it were a paid program, it'd still be considered great, in my opinion.
They should be paying you for your, shouting them out. Like, be like a paid sponsor.
Yeah,
Be nice.
I don't. I don't think I don't think what I say carries enough weight for them. Though. They need like a. I don't know, somebody who's done something paid professionally with it or something.
Like, what kind of audience reach do you have? You're
Yeah,
like,
I have
oh,
1,000 and something subscribers.
like, oh, never mind. We put a check in the mail, but it's already canceled, so never mind. That turtle's looking solid. Turtles are one of those things where I would try and draw them all the time as a kid, and I could never like get it right. I just, for some reason, I couldn't seem to figure it out. And I think my inclination is I tend to draw long, lanky characters, and I have to force myself to make them shorter and squattier. And turtles are like the proper version of turtles, in my opinion. They're like short, squatty guys. So I was all
Right.
their proportions all goofed up.
My cousins, yeah, um, there's a big age gap between me and my cousins, and so like when I was in high school, they were pretty young kids at the time, and they were just super into the turtles, and one in particular. The other one was more actually into Mortal Kombat, I think it was. Uh, and every time I went over, can you draw me a turtle?
Draw me a
So
turtle.
I was just constantly drawing. Yeah,
They are fun. I do like them, but there's so many iterations of them anymore. It's like, well, that's not an iteration of them I care for. So
right.
kind of like the Transformers, they keep getting reworked over and over and over. I'm like, I don't like all these weird versions. I like the version that I grew up with. And my version of the turtles I like, that when I think of them, the ones I'm like nostalgically attached to, it's not the cartoon or the comics. It's that first movie from the 90s. I loved that movie. It was so good. And so that's the version of the Turtles that I like.
Yeah, it's weird how that that sticks with you. I mean, that's kind of the way I am with Conan. It's like
Yeah.
the Conan I know was from the Savage Sword and Conan Saga, and the Conan Saga books were basically just the Savage Sword magazines republished. So when I think of Conan, it's from those books specifically that I'm referring to all of the time.
Right. Kevin says, I just got the gag in the friggin' video title. I don't know if you saw that. Someone's saying.
No, I didn't.
I
What's
titled it Drawing with Someone Sane, you know?
uh
Like he's like, I just got it. I come up with these on the fly, like right when I'm typing them up. Like I got to come up with something out of whatever. We'll do this.
it's like, hey, that's me.
Mark says someone saying pop cultural visual library is on point.
Thank you, sir. All right. So we have a semblance of Raphael.
Nice. Looks solid to me.
His arm's a bit lanky, but for the time I drew it in, I think it's fine. It'll be fine.
It's fine. It's all fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's great. I can't remember. Their belts. They got this thing going on with the belts, right?
I guess it's one of the. I would think of that as one of those elements. It's like your opportunity to add a little flair if you wanted or not. I always remember them having like elbow pads and knee pads.
Oh, knee pads. Yeah, yeah, you're right. They do have knee pads.
Big old
They
knee
had
pads.
the elbow pads. I drew those in. I didn't put the knee pads in. And the knee pads are like big freaking bulky things with like three
Yeah,
different three different
right.
partitions to it, right?
Yeah, that's how I think of them when I see them.
Yeah, kind of like that. That's where Liefeld got it.
Right, probably.
He's like, knee pads look every single character. And in
Put
fact, I
one
think I'll put one on their head
everywhere.
too. Here, we'll give him croissant. Here's the Liefeld version of the turtle. Yeah, yeah. Right. Give him the croissant sandwich
Oh
headgear
my, the croissant sandwich.
with the
Now
with the
that's something I want to draw. Oh man, you just sparked a like a
there.
idea in
There
me.
you go.
That's hilarious.
He needs a like a one of these like the extra crap on it.
And he should have,
Right?
for some reason, a long ponytail, even though turtles don't have hair or a place for it to start.
And
Just
extra crap just because why not? He needs that stuff in the back. There you
right. Great. Oh my
go.
god. Oh, it's brilliant, man. Oh,
It's gonna take me forever to undo.
It's so great.
That's all right. He can hear it. That on its own wire. All right. You know what I want to do though?
Master Liefeld shall hear of this, right?
I feel like I've redrawn this portion of her leg.
You having a part where you're getting kind of stuck, like it's not working?
Well, yeah. You know what it is? I really need to get a larger tablet. Um, the one I have is fine, but I'm when I'm drawing. I mean, when you by a screen size, like your page is the page it is, so you can see all of the page. You know, you just
Right,
kind of sit back and you see everything. So you would be looking at
right.
it like this and drawing, but for me, this is too small on my tablet. So I have to zoom in so that I can get that
Sure.
feeling right. Um, but because of that, I have a tendency of drawing misproportioning things. So, like I said, this turtle's arm was too long, and it's because when I was drawing it, I was up
Oh,
close, and I should have been zoomed out when I was gesturing it. Kevin, it's a Huion display tablet. So I'm actually looking at a screen when I'm drawing. That's where I'm drawing. So I'm drawing on the screen itself. It's not a and like I said, in general, I'm happy with it. It's just um, in hindsight, I probably I would have benefited from a larger screen.
right.
But I didn't know if I was going to like it. When I got it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, do I want to pay that extra money? Like, I don't even know if I'm going to like this thing.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like, let me just go with this thing for now, and if it craps the bed eventually, then I'll get the larger one.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I drew her with some kind of a pouch over here because I was like, oh wait, this is supposed to be a '90s character. It's got to have a pouch.
Right.
She has to have this pouch that carries this unknown thing that one day She's going to pull something out of this. It's going to be of use to the team.
It'll blow our minds when we finally get to see what's one of those pouches.
Yeah, she's going to go in there. She's going to be like, hey, I have a med kit right here.
Like, you've had this whole time?
It's like, hell yeah, I had this freaking med pack. You
Don't you
think I just
guys
carried
bring
this
one?
stupid pouch for no reason whatsoever?
Yeah, it's like I thought we all had one.
But you can't even see. How the hell are you going to med anybody? But the thing is, when you're drawing these sort of things, like you start to understand why Liefeld just decided, you know what, fuck it. For this panel, she doesn't have this stupid belt thing. Like, I'm tired of drawing this thing. like, like, why did I give her this belt with all these freaking extra the clips on it and stuff? Like,
Like,
the hell
oh
with
my
this?
god, it looked great in that one other panel, but I can't be
Yeah,
drawing over and over.
right. It looked great before, but now that I have to draw it all the time, yeah, I don't want to do that shit.
Oh crap.
What? It's like I could draw the sword details on the back of the guy, but I could just put a bunch of squares there and they'll get the idea.
There you go. Yeah, call it a day.
Oh, Mr. Liefeld, we love you.
We used to love you.
I still enjoy him. His older work. I mean,
No, that's me, 100%. Yeah,
I got to go back to the older stuff, but I enjoy it.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I said, I bring it up all the time. Like, look at if you look at her hair going on here, like legit. I can even remember like the S curve to it. He drew. It was a picture of Shatterstar, his freaking ponytail going off into the freaking distance, right?
Yeah,
And I just remember going, wait, that's such a weird shape. I like how it twists and turns and goes around itself. That was him. That was legit him. Like,
yep,
the
yep,
first time I noticed that kind of thing was with him. Now, tons of artists have done it. Like, tons of artists I followed had.
yep. Well, I mean, he
That
has
from now on.
characters with hair blowing in the wind, even if they're inside an office building, and that's fine. I'm actually fine with that. It's
Right? They just have a paid actor just hanging out in the corner with a fan.
right.
Like, make sure to have make my hair go, man. It's got
Yeah,
to look legit.
Nate says we're haters.
I literally just gave him a compliment, Nate.
Yeah, he's probably
The
directing this.
dude, the dude influenced my art style. Like, what better compliment can I give him?
Yeah, me too.
I'm
Me.
not going to kiss his ass, though. Like, I make mistakes. I can point them out to you. This arm is a mistake. It's too big. This hair, his head, lopsided. Should have done better with that. The fact that I'm doing this drawing isn't matching up the action of the original sketch. I could have done better. This hand's too small. I should fix it later. You know, that's what we do. Like, we point out our mistakes. We point out everybody's mistakes. We just happen to point his mistakes out the most. Why? Because he pats himself in the back the most.
That's the thing.
He looks at it and says there's nothing wrong. I look at mine and say there's wrong all over the place.
That's a great way of putting it. You're exactly correct. Like, I'm so good. No one's outscolded me. Like, yeah, okay.
Who are you? where's your pictures?
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't draw what I drew.
Have you sold 5 million copies of X-Force? No, so therefore I can do no wrong. I'm like, oh,
Right.
okay.
It's not exactly how that works, but hey,
Okay.
whatever. Speaking of doing it wrong, like now I got now here's a problem solver. I gotta go through here. How the hell do I draw these clips on a foreshortened leg? Now,
Oh,
if I were Rob, I would just be like, you know what, this is too hard. I'm gonna change the leg to do this, and then I could I could just do it sideways, and that's a lot easier.
and you said
I'm
clip,
not gonna do that
like
though.
clips, like CLIPS.
Yeah,
See,
clips.
I thought you for half a second. I thought you said clit. I was like, whoa, what are you drawing? What are you drawing? I'm like, oh no, I
Yeah,
heard that wrong.
anime was a mistake. Big time anime guy.
Nate says your art is perfect, saying zero mistakes.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The clips,
Thank you.
CLIPS.
Thank you.
Um, that actually brings up a memory I got to tell you about, but I'll get to that in a second. But the clips, yeah, they're because this leg is foreshortened, and now I have to draw these clips matching that vanishing point. Like where would that vanishing point be? So I'm gonna do the mountain trick. Like here it is again, Nate. I'm doing the mountain trick. Start with the foreground. Here's my squares, which would make up the end of the clips. And now I say, okay, determining where the leg is pointing, my vanishing point is probably going to be in there ish, like somewhere in the distance. That doesn't really make sense. We're probably closer this way, right? It's kind of in the center. But it's weird because the leg has a different form than a straight object like a clip. So just gonna wing it a little bit. As usual. Silly objects on the leg. Why would you do clips on the leg?
Because it looks awesome.
It looks awesome, but only when it's straight. See, now I got to remember that there's a belt going around the leg as well, which means that the belt that holds the clips to the main part of the belt has to go over these clips. Oh, the humanity. But you see, that's why it's called the concept drawing. Because now I see the error of my ways. And I'm going to change that concept later. Those clips are going on a backpack, which I'll never draw. You'll never see that backpack because it's all you're going to see it from the front.
Grace, the cosplayer, says, just a reminder, still here doing some digital art. And she says, I figured out the mechanics. Yippee. Well, there you go. That's awesome.
Let's see. Now, wait. So there was a story. I said, oh, that reminds me of a story. What was
Yes.
that? Clips. The clips. The spelling of clips. All right. So here's the thing. My best friend. I've had this friend. We met when we were kids. Still talking to today. Now, I don't know if I should tell the story. I kind of have to now though because I've piqued interest, right?
Too late. You committed yourself.
So, all right. So it's kind of a two-parter, and I don't want it to get long. So but I'm going to try to shorten it as best I can. All right. So I told you I went to art school.
Yep.
As you do in art school, you do life drawing. So we had these these people come in for the life drawing and stand out, and we'd have to draw them. And one day, some guy came in for the life drawing. He's standing there doing his thing, and we're all drawing. And every once in a while, they get breaks every so often. So it's break time. Everybody's kind of stretching, getting up, looking at everybody else's drawings and stuff. And the guy who's modeling, he ends up walking around. And the teacher comes over and says, "Oh, hey, yours even looks like him." And it's like, that's supposed to be surprising because we were only doing like 5-minute sketches for that session. Um, so she had him come over to look.
Right.
So he goes, "Oh, I have some of those." He's like, "That's interesting. I draw the cartoons in those." It's like, yeah. So he goes over to his bag and he comes back with some magazines. I'm expecting to see like Nintendo Power and stuff.
Right.
Um, they were not Nintendo Power.
Wow.
They were definitely of the adult variety, um, type magazines.
Why would
And I
this
was like, "Oh, no, no,
with
no!
him?
I didn't say GAY. I said GAME magazines,
Wow.
gaming magazines." He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh," and I'm like, "But hey, you know what? There's art in there, so show me the art because." Hey, you know what? I got to make a buck. So if somebody's going to pay me, hey, whatever, I'll do it. To a certain extent.
Yeah. Wow.
Uh, but so that was the first instance of this. Now I don't know. Maybe I'm originally from Western Massachusetts, so I don't know how much my accent's changed since then. Um, you guys might have actually heard me the same way that he heard me when I said that the first time. Uh, it happened repeatedly after that. I went. I was with my buddy, and I forget what we were doing. We were at the mall. I don't know. I think we went to see a movie there or something. And we went to the food court. We're getting some food. The lady comes over to the table and is like, "Okay, so what can I get you?" And I said something about gaming, and she kind of looked at us funny. When she walked over, and when she asked us to order, she immediately thought that what I ordered, I was ordering for him. And I'm like, this has got to be because she heard me say gaming again. Like it
Right.
has to be. And after that, I started to spell it. Like every time I said game, I'd start spelling it GAME.
Right. You're
Let's go
like,
pick
I've
up a
had too
yeah.
many.
Let's go pick up a game at Blockbuster. GAME.
Yeah, we're not gonna go pick up a gay.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. I have nothing wrong. I don't care about it. I don't care that
No,
people
no, that's
thought
not the point.
that.
It's just not what you
It's just it's like I was trying to say one thing, and for some reason, it always came out the wrong way, and people were always thinking the other. And like I don't like
said.
maybe I portray that. I don't know.
That's funny.
So yeah, so there's multiple instances of this. I got clips apparently, and gaming game.
Well, I'm
Can't
just
get that.
attributing it to like not
Uh,
great audio, over live streaming. So
yeah, I don't know. Could be that too, but that doesn't help me with gaming in real life.
Nate says he had a feeling about you, Sane.
Hey, whatever.
I am. He's like, I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm
If
fine with
people
it.
want to think that, that's fine. If they want to follow me on Instagram because of that, that's even better.
Absolutely.
I could care less. Yeah, people are gonna think what they think anyway.
Oh, I might need to be wrapping up here shortly.
All right.
Almost enough for one night. I had this really interesting chick joined up last night. Uh, Went by the name of Jessica, which for a second I thought it was the Jessica I know, but then I'm like, No, that's not her."
Yeah, that was a different Jess. I briefly saw her come in and start talking to you, and I saw that conversation of is it the Jess I know, or is this a different Jess?
Yeah, I realized her handle is not Jessica; it's Blackbird Inc. I'm like, what am I talking about? And she
Yeah,
was really nice, but she was like kind of goofy, weird, but in a nice
yeah,
way. I was going on about how the page I was drawing that looks just like her and is totally her page. Is it for sale? And I'm like, maybe it will be. And then so she like donated $1.99 two different times. So yeah, it was a very nice thing. But eventually she disappeared. And so I was kind of saying, oh, I think that one chick must have taken off. She was kind of nice. And Nate, rather not Nate, but D Man points out the obvious. He's like, dude, she was probably high. I was like, oh my God, that explains everything. That's why she was acting so weird. Very nice person, very like complimentary and very sweet, and donated $4. So I'm
yes,
like, all right. But as D Man pointed out, probably high.
right. She's probably gonna be like, "Where the hell did my $4 go?
Yeah, like where did I donate? What is this YouTube thing? What did I do?
Who the hell is Rob Norton?"
See, D Man's like, I like those wacky chicks. She was wacky. God damn it, Mark Domowitz. I owe that man something. Well, thank you, Mark. It's awesome every time, and I thank you. But he's like, I'm funding this whole operation. He kind of is,
We thank you for that, Mark.
and I do. I'm not kidding when I say I owe you. Like I need to do something for him. If he joined me on a live one of these days, and we could have our interactions for once. It took us a while to get Gaten here to be, comfortable enough.
Yeah, it's still a rough start with me though. It'll always. I'm going to tell you right now. It'll always be. It always takes me a while to get rolling on stuff.
Kevin's like, oh shit, by law, Mark basically owns us all right now. Yeah, he does. He owns me.
So Mark's the producer, is it?
Yeah, that's 100%. That's what it is. Yeah, I guess I better go out there and um, go see what my kids are doing. Make sure they know I'm still here and I still love them.
Alrighty. So this is my efforts for tonight.
Oh, while I've got you guys' attention, someone saying and Mark, if you guys were wanting to do a pinup in my book, I would start thinking about having them with by the end of the month ish, because that's my goal, and we're getting close. You know what I mean? If
Right.
that's something you guys were still interested in doing, just FYI, that I know I need to have it done by I mean, I need to have the book in hand by September, but I gotta I gotta put the book together. So I'm going to be doing that in August. So if you wanted to have that,
So
we'll throw.
I had kind of started something here,
Oh shit! I gotta look closer.
but I wasn't sure if it was worthy.
Oh, you shouldn't worry about worthy and just make it awesome because I'm sure it will be. Look at that, Gorgira. Well, I'm
The
liking
idea
it
was
already, man. So
the idea was supposed to be that it's you get your Godzilla going after He-Man.
I love that idea.
But then I was like, but He-Man's so small, you can't see him. I was like, maybe I got to put him in the foreground. But if I put him in the foreground, it's just going to look like a little lizard. So it's like I was having trouble figuring out how I'm going to get the perspective right, the
Well,
atmospheric perspective.
I've talked about that a lot. Where drawings where you're having a regular human guy fight a giant monster. It's tricky for that exact reason. To get the scale of everything right. And I didn't get it right all the time, but I think on occasion I kind of got it right. But you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
It takes away from the scale. Like the juxtaposition doesn't seem right. Um, so I might have to go look at that one picture that Mark did actually. Now I'm thinking about it, where he had that big creature thing going off in the background. I think he sold it with mountains, like the way he had the mountains and trees going.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like my first thought is if I was have He-Man in the foreground, you could have him bigger and some more bold outlines to bring him to the foreground, then have some like mid-ground elements of like trees and rocks and hills and stuff, and then have the giant monster in scale to the trees and stuff, but then like a lighter line weight. So it pushes him back, but then he's also the largest drawing on the page. Things like that kind of help sell the scale.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
awesome, man. Yeah, go for it. That looks really killer.
thanks. But we'll see if I can pull it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I've I've had it on my mind. I've been trying. It's just a matter of getting that thing done. And I'm working off of like a toy Godzilla as a reference.
Hey, these toys they make these days are perfect. Way better than any of the crap I'd have as a kid.
Right? Yeah, like there's like actual detail in this thing.
Yeah, that looks amazing. That's awesome. God, I want that toy.
Right? I was just like, it's like seriously. Like when I first pulled it up as a reference, I was like, that's a toy. I was like, holy cow, well, that's pretty good. I thought it was a movie still.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited to see it. So, yeah. Well, thanks, fellas. Thanks, everybody. I'm gonna.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So, yeah, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. We'll do it again in the future sometime if you want. But yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate.
sounds good.
Yep. And then
Yeah, yeah, Mark, the one that I helped you out with. Sorry, I was just giving
no.
him a quick answer.
Yep, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, guys.